This is the DAYFARER 18-liter backpack from Modern Dayfarer. Now this is a top-loading everyday carry style of bag, but don't click off this video just yet. I know how polarizing top-loading bags are in the carry community. What makes this bag an EDC beast is its on-body quick access, and I can show that for you here quickly. You're wearing the bag on this shoulder, swing the bag over, and then boom, you're into the main compartment already. Now if you're wearing the bag on the other shoulder, you swing the bag over, and then boom, you're into the main compartment from this side. Bonus, you got a front diagonal pocket as well, so you got quick access here to this front pocket. Now, of course, if you stand the bag up, you have that traditional top loading access as well. Now, if all that is not enough quick access for you, you get almost full clamshell panel style access as well. So in today's video, we're gonna do a full walkthrough of this bag. I'm gonna show you the ins and outs, tell you all about its features. I've had this bag since about the beginning of November, so of course I'm gonna share my experience and what it's been like using this bag. I'll give you some pros and some cons, and somewhere towards the back end of the video, I'm gonna do a full pack out to show you what exactly fits into this bag. Now, as always, there's chapter markers down below if you need to skip to a section that's more important to you, but let's do the damn thing. Now, when you start talking about Modern Dayfarer as a brand and you look at their catalog, you can easily see that a lot of their products share a similar design language. Now, I recently reviewed the DAYFARER 2-liter sling. If you haven't checked that out, definitely check this one out. This is a very cool, unique sling. Now, as you can tell between the 18-liter backpack and the 2-liter sling, how the design language carries between the two products. So if you love matching gear, Modern Dayfarer is going to be right up your alley. Another common theme between all of their products is their ease of access and quick access. Whether it's that 2-liter sling that has that magnetic flap to get into the sling very easy, or the 4 points of entry like I showed you for the main compartment here, their products are designed to move, be on the move, and have quick access. So if you're somebody who's commuting in busy subways, train stations, bus stations, and you're in a tight space and you need a lot of on-body access, Modern Dayfarer products really seem to excel in that type of scenario. Now, when we start talking about aesthetics, much like the sling, you're gonna see very sharp, clean lines, almost borderline aerodynamic. It gives a modern, a very techie style of feel. It's an appropriate aesthetic, I think, for any setting, whether it be travel or the office. So I really like the clean design that Modern Dayfarer translates into all of their soft goods. Now, even though this is just a black bag, there's subtle other little black accents like here on the lid that's gonna break up the monotony of the entire black thing. And of course, the focal point of this entire front panel is gonna be that giant Fidlock V-buckle. So again, a nice way to break up the elements of a solid black bag. Now you can easily see the sharp, clean lines in this modern look, but what may not be so evident on camera is this bag tapers. It starts a little bit narrow at the bottom, kind of widens out at the top, kind of following the natural progression of the body. A little narrow at the bottom, and as you get up to your shoulders, it widens out just a little bit. Another thing is also that the bottom of the bag also tapers at a sharp angle. Now, what that means for this bag is that 100% of the time, this bag is gonna face plant. In any scenario, this bag is not gonna stand up on its own. It's not gonna stand up on its own no matter how you pack it out. Now, I wanna be very clear, self-standing is not a requirement for me. And to be honest with you, in my everyday carry scenario, all of my bags are hanging. When I get to my office, when I get to my desk, I unload everything from my backpack, place it on my desk. I actually have a hook on the side of my desk where my bag hangs. But the reason I bring it up is if you're the type of person that puts this bag on the desk when you go to a coffee shop, when you're at your job, and you like to work from the bag, grabbing things in and out of your bag throughout the day, just know that it is never gonna stand on its own. This bag's always gonna be a leaner. Now, I've been referring to this bag as the lean, mean EDC machine, and the reason I've been saying that is because at 18-liter capacity, that's a very tight everyday carry size for myself, but I know this works for a lot of people. So when you get into the interior of this bag, of course, like we shown earlier, you can get almost full clamshell access, panel loader style, almost on the inside. Now, Modern Dayfarer doesn't actually list the type of material that's on the inside lining of their bag, but like I mentioned in the sling, this material looks very familiar to me. This looks like a 210D ripstop nylon, kind of like an industry standard, something that you would see on the rework bags, whether it's the sling or backpack, and also very commonly seen in all of the Air products. So on the back here, you have this big giant stretch pocket where you can fit a variety of things. You can even stuff a small sweater because of the amount of space in there. You can put a tablet, notebooks. It's a very generous size when I get to the pack out section of this video, I'll actually demonstrate for you that if you need to carry 2 devices, you can actually fit an additional 15-inch MacBook Air into this second pocket as well. Now on the other side of the bag, you have the usual suspects. Most backpacks have the same layout here. On the beaver tail, you have 2 additional pockets. You have one that's a little bit see-through, and you have one that is not. So I like the mesh that they're using here. It's very similar to what I saw in the Brown Buffalo Conceal Pack. It doesn't have a lot of give, but man, is it burly, and really feels like it's gonna hold up over time. Now you do have a little bit of branding here up at the top, the Modern Dayfarer tag. Now one additional feature to both of these internal pockets is they're gusseted. So you can see how the material pulls away from the pack there. All that material is about a 1/2 inch of gusset. Now that's gonna allow you to put bulkier things into these pockets, but you gotta keep in mind that even though they do have their own volume, at the end of the day, it just pushes into the pack, so you're just taking away volume from the inside of the main compartment. Now, when we get to the exterior, this is where the bag really shines because that's where all of the access points are from the exterior of the bag. This is where all the features are gonna be found. Now, the primary fabric on this particular bag is a 420D Velocity nylon. Now, that's 100% recycled nylon. I like this material a lot. I like that 420 denier a lot because it's very resistant to dust and pet hair. While you may get some on the bag because of the softness and the smoothness of the material, all of that stuff is going to be very easy to clean off with just your hand or a light damp cloth, and you can be able to keep this bag looking like new with minimal effort. Now that 420D Velocity nylon does have a PU backing, and that's going to help give you a fair amount of weather resistance. And to help bolster that weather resistance on all of the exterior zippers, including the top laptop compartment, are all going to be the YKK AquaGuard zippers. So that extra PU coating there on the zippers is going to help you with that water resistance. Now the trade-off for having those PU coated zippers, you're going to gain that extra weather resistance, but there has been some discussion about the longevity of the PU coating. Over time, it may start to flake off and may start to deteriorate. Now that's all going to be dependent on where you live, the climate, and what you're carrying. So there's a lot of variables in play there. Just know that at some point down the line, it could be 3 years, 10 years from now, you may deal with some peeling zippers. Now to help get you into all of these pockets are these nice laser cut Hyperlon zipper pulls. They have a little bit of branding on them, but overall I like the clean look of them. They're nice, they're tactile, they have a good grip. And these PU coated zippers, very, very smooth. And that's not always the case. Sometimes some of the biggest complaints you'll hear about these zippers is the amount of added resistance to get in and out of a bag. Not the case here. Very smooth AquaGuard zippers here. Now this bag only has one water bottle pocket, which I think is perfect for this style of quick access on the go type of bag. It does have a little bit of elastic there to help you get larger bottles into it. I was able to carry my 26-ounce Yeti Rambler with no issue. Just know that the bigger bottle you go, the more it pushes into the main compartment. So if you really pack this sucker out, getting bottles, larger bottles I should say, into this pocket, while it's doable, you may have some extra resistance because it does push into the main cavity. Now right next to the water bottle holder, you have a nice padded grab handle here. You also have one at the top of the bag that's nicely padded and very wide, so no matter the size of your hand, you should have no problem grabbing this. I really like this style of wide top grab handles. Now Modern Dayfarer switched over to a fidlock V-buckle. I think on their larger version of this bag, it has like a slider fidlock. I think the V-buckle here makes a lot more sense. And of course that clasping action, that fidget factor is always so nice. You do have a little bit of adjustability here with the webbing to make this lid go up a little bit further, but don't get some crazy ideas. You're not gonna expand this for an additional 5 liters. This is just help you adjust the lid as the size of the pack packs out and maybe up just a little bit. You have a little bit of wiggle room there with the extra webbing. Now one little small detail that I noticed and I really like about it is they sewn the end of the webbing here into the bag. So, and some other bags, particularly the GoRuck M23, when you take off the fidlock V-buckles, that whole strap is coming and hitting the table, and it really just dings up your buckles here. So just little small details like that make this a nice user experience. So when you take this buckle off, you know it's not going to slam into the table. On this side of the bag, you have that side access pocket. Now it is a decent size, but you're not going to have any additional organization in this pocket here. It's just a big dump pocket, same gray interior. And because of the thick padding on the front, it's actually going to limit you just a little bit. It's got a decent amount of padding there all along the bag, like on the lid. And then of course, if you pack out the main compartment, it pushes into this compartment as well. I find the best use case for this front pocket for smaller, flatter things, but anything you need quick access to, like your AirPods, chapstick, anything is going to fit great into there. So one sneaky pocket on this bag is that this whole side panel here is actually a pocket, but you can't really tell because the zipper track is hidden so well behind this rain flap. And there's the zipper pull right there. You can see it right there. That just tucks away and you can't even tell that there's a pocket there. So you do have that rain flap there. And I forgot to mention on the main compartment, when you open up the main compartment zipper, there is an additional rain flap behind there. Now it doesn't impede your access to the bag, but just know it has an extra layer of water protection behind the PU coated zipper. So this side panel pocket here is actually a vertical oriented pocket. That's going to be accessed when the bag is standing up. You have two stretch pockets on the inside. And again, like I said, they're going to be from the top. So when you're standing this bag up, this is going to be a great place to access smaller items. You do have that tethered key leash in there with a carabiner to hide your keys. So this is going to be a great spot for your cell phone, keys, sunglasses, things of that nature that kind of load from the top. Now, when you finally get to the back panel, you're met with these nicely padded contoured straps. Now, I find this contour shape very comfortable for me. Of course, comfort is always subjective, but I found these particular straps extremely comfortable. They have very, very thick padding, especially for an 18-liter bag. Very thick padding there. You're also gonna have very thick padding on the actual back panel itself. So very comfortable bag. Now it isn't that air mesh with a lot of air pockets, so it may become a little warm, but just know that this very thick padding is very comfortable in my opinion. Now at the bottom, you have these two additional webbing loops here. It looks like attachments for a hip belt. I don't believe Modern Dayfarer actually even sells a hip belt, but you could attach your own easily there. Again, with the bag this size, I don't ever see that happening or the need for one, but at least you have the option. So no harm, no foul by adding the two loops there at the bottom. Right here, you have your vertical luggage pass through, and you have a nice air channel here because of the thickness of the padding. Now, one last feature on this back panel is you have a hidden passport pocket right here. Now there is no Hyperlon zipper pull there to keep it hidden, but right there is a good spot and a nice decent room there. I was actually able to fit a passport and a wallet. You could probably fit up to 2 to 4 passports in there as well. So if you need to stash passports, wallets, cash, anything of value, a great place to do so because the pocket is really well hidden. And of course, with it being directly up against your back, not very likely that you would be subject to a pickpocket. And of course, on the shoulder straps here, you do have a magnetic adjustable sternum strap. I love the addition of a sternum strap. Even though this is a small backpack, I love the option of still having a sternum strap. It's more of a security, warm, fuzzy feeling for me than it is actually supporting the weight of the bag. But to me, no matter how small the bag is, I still love to see a sternum strap. And of course, like I said, this one is magnetic. Now down at the bottom of the straps, you have that nice premium softer twill webbing. It's kind of what you would find on a seatbelt of a car. And you have some included web keepers as well. Now these are like more premium plastic style, so they're easily slide. So if you need to make adjustments, they're not held up by that thick elastic, so you can still make your adjustments while keeping your webbing tight. And one last comment about the shoulder strap itself is you have a lot of webbing. So if you're taller, fear not, these straps should be able to adjust to any person's torso height or actual height. A lot of webbing. Look at all the excess webbing that I have left. And that's typically not the case because I'm not super tall, but at 5'10", I don't usually have this much dangle. But again, you do have web keepers to help keep everything managed, but just know that there's a lot of adjustment in these straps. And lastly, at the top, you have the dedicated laptop sleeve here. Now it is exactly that. It is just a sleeve. There are no pockets. There are no other things to add chargers or cables or anything like that. It's just a sleeve. It is suspended off the bottom and it is fully padded on both sides there. So it's gonna offer you some very good device protection. Now, when it comes to this bag's overall quality, it is exceptional. When you tie that in with all the higher end materials being used to put this bag together, it gives this bag a very nice premium feeling. Now, some things on the quality aspect that I like to see, and I saw a lot of here on this bag, you have reinforced stitching here at the top of the carry grab handle to reinforce the bag. The shoulder straps are in all reinforced bar tack stitching. You just have a lot of reinforced paneling across the back panel where you're really gonna support most of the weight of this bag. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not a sewing expert by any means, but using my experience of all sorts of different bags and all sorts of different price ranges, I believe what I see here is of very good quality. Now, when it comes to comfort, I think they executed the harness system extremely well. When you see smaller bags, they typically have thinner straps. They go thinner on the padding because you can't really overload a small bag, so you don't really have to go robust on either the padding or the shoulder straps. But Modern Dayfarer did the opposite. They have the nicer, wider straps, the thicker padding on the shoulder straps, the thicker padding on the back panel. All that combined, I felt the bag carried extremely comfortable. Again, you're not going to be able to really overload this bag because of its size, but if you do have some heavier objects in there, the carrying weight for this bag wasn't an issue at all. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the tech specs for you up on the screen. Please feel free to give that a pause if you want to get a better look at any of those numbers. Now, when it comes to the bag's listed capacity of 18 liters, I would agree with that. I would say it's a very snug 18 liters, but I do feel you can get the full 18 out of this bag. Now, you do have a little bit of wiggle room with the lid, but like I said, it's not going to give you an additional 5 liters. So my best guess here would be a tight 18 liters. Now, the only other number that really stuck out to me in the tech specs was the listed weight of 2.6 pounds. And for an 18-liter bag, that's kind of heavy when you look at the size of the bag to weight ratio. And for reference, I have some 30-liter bags that actually weigh less than this bag here. Now, I would say most of that weight's in partly due to the amount of padding on this backpack. You have that fully padded lid. This entire front panel's padded. You have that padded bottom. On the back panel, of course, the straps in here. Even on the inside of the laptop sleeve, both sides are padded because you have the padding here on the back and it's padded on the front. But of course, the trade-off there is you're gonna get that backpack that has more structure and maintains those clean lines a little bit better. Of course, it's gonna be more comfortable and offer you better protection for your electronic devices. Now, currently at the time of filming, this bag does come in 2 different colors, an olive and the black that I have for you right here. Now, given the additional features of the luggage pass-through, the hidden passport pocket on the bag, it's gonna make this bag a very good size for a personal item. So I have my personal item sizer box here, and like I said, given this bag's overall dimensions and size, it's gonna make this a great personal item. Even fully packed out, it should pass on most airlines. Of course, you always double check with your airlines before you fly, but in an 18-liter bag in this dimensions, you shouldn't have any issues flying with it anywhere in the world. Now, one little quirk that I found with this bag and I wanted to bring up, especially if you plan on using this bag as a travel personal item, especially when you're accompanying your carry-on roller. Yes, you do have that vertical luggage pass-through there and it fits just nice. And then you have that side carry grab handle that's gonna help you get this bag on and off your trolley. My only issue I found with this setup here and this orientation is I love having the handle here to get this bag on and off, but because of the orientation of the carry grab handle at the top, all of your access side pockets are actually on the other side. So you have side entrance to your main compartment, side entrance to the front compartment, and side entrance to that vertical pocket. So with it being oriented like this, you won't be able to access any of those pockets on this side. Now, you're at a little bit of a conundrum here because you have your water bottle pocket here. So if you were to move this handle to the other side, then now your water bottle is sideways on top of your luggage and could cause your bag to do this. So it's a little bit of a conundrum, but I just wanted you to know that if you do load the backpack in this orientation like you naturally would because of the handle, you lose access to all of your side pockets. Now for some things that I really liked about the Dayfarer 18-liter backpack. The number one for me is going to be the quick access. There's just so many points of entry across this bag. You have the dual main compartment access on the side here. You have that vertical pocket here. You have that pocket you can access here from swinging the bag over. Just lots of places to get to stuff on the outside of the bag. And I think that that's one of the things to make a top-loading backpack function extremely well. Number 2 for me is going to be the carry comfort. I was pleasantly surprised in the harness system that Modern Dayfarer developed here. Now, like I mentioned, this is an 18-liter bag, and you're not going to be able to carry extremely heavy loads, but stuffing this bag out, carrying it every day, walking with it a couple of miles every day, I felt that this bag would just disappear on my back and I could hardly feel it. It's very, very comfortable, and of course, I know comfort is subjective, but for me, this harness system worked extremely well. And lastly, I really enjoyed the travel focused features of this bag. The side carry grab handle to help get your bag on and off the trolley, the luggage pass through there to put it on your carry-on roller, the side hidden passport pocket there to hide your valuables. I think those are more a little bit travel oriented. So while this is an EDC beast, you can still use this as a personal item on almost every airline in the world, given its size. Now for some things that I didn't quite like about this backpack, number 1 for me is going to be the side panel pocket. Now, all backpacks, when you stuff the main compartment, is going to make every other pocket on the bag tighter. So there's no exception here. But I felt that this side panel pocket was tight from the jump. Even when this bag was empty, getting into this bag, like it felt like you really had to stretch it open here, and it just becomes more difficult as the bag becomes loaded. So I tend to put items in here that I didn't need to grab very often because getting in and out of this pocket felt like a chore. I have a decent sized hand, and that made it a little bit more difficult even to get stuff down in the bottom, like my sunglasses, flashlight, anything like that. So I like where the pocket is placed, but it just felt like a chore to get in and out of this pocket specifically. And the second con for this bag, while it honestly wasn't an issue for me, but I can see it being an issue for a number of people, is the bag doesn't self-stand. Like I mentioned, it has a tapered bottom, so you really have to consider the type of person you are. If you're somebody who works out of the backpack, meaning you set the bag down and you're grabbing, you know, cables, chargers, plugs throughout the day in and out of your bag, just know that it's gonna have to be leaned on something or hung on something. It's not just gonna be like a self-standing desk caddy, or if you're at a coffee shop, it's not gonna self-stand right next to you while you're on your laptop. So again, not a requirement for me, but I know how important it is to most people that the bag self-stands, and you're just not gonna get that here with the Dayfarer 18 liter. And lastly, the only potential con to this bag is the overall weight of 2.6 pounds given its size. Like I mentioned, I have 30 liter bags that don't weigh this much, a little under 2.5 pounds. So that's something to consider, especially if you're traveling with this bag, because it makes a great personal item. But if you're traveling somewhere like in Southeast Asia where they weigh your bags, you're already losing 2.5 pounds to just the bag. So it may not be the best option if you're looking to save on weight. Okay, so let's load this bag out. Like I mentioned earlier, you have this big giant stretchy pocket there. It's gonna make it great for a small sweater, a light jacket, but also if you need to carry two different machines, I have a 3D print here of a 15-inch MacBook Air. You can see that it will easily fit into that pocket. I know everybody doesn't carry two machines, but if you're one of the few that do, just know that you can put a laptop up to a 16-inch in the laptop compartment, and then you can fit up to a 15-inch MacBook Air in the front compartment. Now me, I didn't do that. That's a great spot for notebooks, magazines, anything like that, and that's where I kept my moleskin notebook. Now I do commute and travel with the lunch bag. I have my Carhartt lunch bag, and that's gonna take up bulk of the room on the inside. Again, this is only an 18-liter bag. Of course, if you don't travel with the lunch, it's just gonna give you way more room. You have room for large over-the-ear headphones, things like that. But I do take a lunch, and that's where I put my lunch. The only other thing I really carried on the inside here is my boo-boo kit. This is my D-Mate stubby. In here, I only have like Band-Aids, Neosporin, aspirin, Tylenol, you know, things like that. So I don't utilize the bottom pocket on any backpack because of my lunch. It just kind of pushes into each other. So on this top pocket, that's where I chose to put my little first aid boo-boo kit right there on the front pocket. Okay, besides my lunch in the main compartment, I have my admin pouch from Philip Robot, and in here I have the Magic Mouse, the 65-watt Ugreen charger, a couple of cables, some backup wired headphones, and of course on this side I have my MacBook charger and brick on this side as well. So you have plenty of room next to the lunch to put your admin pouch there. And of course, at the very top, you can carry your over-the-ear headphones. So not too much. The only other thing, like I said, sometimes I would carry a light jacket depending how cool it was outside on the day, but enough space for most people and their everyday carry items in the main compartment. You get that zipped up and we'll close the lid here. Now on this other side of the backpack is where you have those two side pockets. So the front side pocket there, again, you start to lose a little bit of capacity because you're packing out the main compartment, but this is just a big dump pocket, and that's where I kept all of my smaller items. I don't mind if they all just mash up in there, but chapstick, my eye drops, chewing gum, stuff I wanted quicker access to, of course an emergency snack, and most importantly, I would like to have quick access to my power bank. I don't keep it in my admin pouch because sometimes I just want to reach in my bag and grab specifically my power bank, so I like to have it separate. This is the Iniu P73. I mentioned it in a bunch of videos, but I like this one because it's MagSafe Qi 2 charging at 15 watts. But if you want to go faster at 45-watt charging, you can use the two USB-C ports that are included. And of course, the carry lanyard is actually the cable you use to charge your phone. So you can do 45 watts and even have a kickstand there. So this is a pretty slim battery. It's pretty awesome. I've mentioned it in a bunch of videos. Link in the description if you want to check that out. But I highly recommend this P73 MagSafe charger from Iniu. Anyway, that's going to go down in there to the main compartment as well. Now this side pocket here, like I said, it is very tight even when the backpack is empty. You really have to force the pocket open. So of course on the key leash is where I would clip my keys. And I don't have to access the keys that much because I have a wireless remote for the vehicle there. Stuff that down in there. See the difficulty in trying to get into this pocket here. And you do have those 2 stretch pockets. Down at the bottom would be a great place to put your sunglasses. And like I mentioned in all my videos, I've always traveled with a pocket knife and a flashlight. I have my Kershaw blade here, and of course my trusty Wuben G5 Flashlight. That's where I kept in that top stretchy pocket there. Oops, flashlight came on there. Turn that bad boy off. Wouldn't lock it there. And of course, like I said, my knife right next door. Great place to put smaller items that you don't access too often. Get that zipped up. Now on this back side, you do have that security pocket here where you can put your passport if you're traveling and your wallet. And it is pretty tight because the bag's filling up, but it's still enough room. And I have my Wayfinder passport wallet. It'll fit in its entirety. And I've been using and testing, future video coming on this. This is the Elements card holder from Evergoods. A great little magnetic wallet, but that will also fit right next to your passport. Nice tucked away, and you don't really feel them poking through because of the thick padding on the back of the backpack. Now up top, you have that top loading laptop compartment. And like I mentioned, you can get up to a 16-inch MacBook Pro. I don't have a 16-inch MacBook Pro. I have the 16-inch Woodbook Pro. It's a cutout exact replica of a 16-inch MacBook Pro. And it fits right in there, very snug because the bag's already packed out. But you can tell by the edges, you barely have clearance on each side. So this is gonna be the biggest machine you're gonna be able to fit. I did try to put a 17-inch 3D print of a Dell computer in here, no go. So 16-inch MacBook Pro, that's about as big as you're gonna get. And the cool thing about it being a top loader is when you slide this underneath the seat in front of you, you have access to your laptop right there. So if you need to get work done while you're on the plane, quick access without having to like pull your whole bag out. So I really like the top loading aspect of the laptop here. So I got this thing fully loaded, and like I mentioned earlier, you have that 1 bottle pocket, and because it does protrude into the main compartment, it makes it snug. So yes, I can fit my 26-ounce Yeti Rambler in there, but it is tight. So just keep that in mind. If you're gonna pack out the main compartment, this bottle pocket is gonna perform a lot smoother with smaller bottles. Yes, you can still fit your larger bottles, just know you're gonna be met with some resistance in doing so. Now for some final thoughts on the Dayfarer 18-liter backpack from Modern Dayfarer. I think that this is an EDC beast, an EDC lean machine. So if you're somebody who carries the essentials, this is gonna be the perfect size for you. Also, if you're somebody who commutes with a messenger bag or a large satchel, this can be a great alternative because it can hold similar items in a backpack form. So if you're somebody who does that already and you're looking for a backpack, I think this backpack is going to be a great option for you as well. Now, if you're somebody who commutes daily in subways, bus stations, or crowded areas because of the quick on-body access, this would also be another great option for you as well. Now, given the materials and the build quality, I think that this is a great execution of an everyday carry backpack from Modern Dayfarer. But of course, I want to know what you think of the Dayfarer 18-liter backpack. Let me know your thoughts on the self-standing aspect of bags. Is that something that is a hard line in the sand for you, or you don't mind if the bag has a little bit of lean and tilt in it? And of course, if you have any more questions about this backpack, feel free to leave those questions down in the comments. I respond to every single one. The goal of this channel is to always help you find the right gear for you. Now, if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If you found any value in today's video, or you simply just want to see more like it, please consider hitting like and subscribe, as that directly supports me and the channel. I want to give a special shout out to Modern Dayfarer for sending this bag out for me to test and review. Thank you again for supporting today's video, and I hope to see you on the next one.